The views and opinions expressed by contributors on the Spoon River Gothic podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the host. Material heard on the Spoon River Gothic podcast is intended for adult listeners. This podcast deals with mature topics that may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised. This is Spoon River Gothic, narrative of a double homicide.
I was hoping to reach Mr. Jeff Bennett.
This is he.
Hi, my name is Jinra, and I'm conducting research for a criminal justice report on Donnie Bull for an upcoming podcast. I was hoping to know if now was a good time to chat with you about him, or if we could talk at another time.
Who's it for?
It's for an upcoming podcast on Donnie Bull.
Upcoming podcast for Donnie Bull.
Yes.
Hey, isn't he the one that killed that girl?
Yes.
Yes. I tell you what, is this your direct line?
It is.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Jinra. That's Jinra.
Jinra.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, when I leave here, I'll give you a call.
All right, will do. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hi. Sorry. I was just calling you back. You were talking to somebody from Loneburg Media named Jinra. And
Yes,
she had a technical issue, I guess. I don't really know the details of it. But they asked me to give you a call back because you were in the middle of a conversation with her. You worked at the, is it Usco gas station?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, did you know Donnie Bull?
Yes, I did. I knew him as a customer.
Oh, okay. Do you remember, what do you remember about the case?
Something about he set a woman on fire and her kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you think about Donnie? What was he like?
Well, I thought he was a decent guy. I mean, he came in every day for coffee.
Okay. So that's what I've heard too, that he could come across very normal and congenial and that type of thing. So did you know him outside of the gas station?
No, But I was working at that gas station for quite a few years.
Yeah. Is that the gas station that was close to Donna's house?
I would say 4 or 5 blocks, probably.
Oh, okay. What do you remember about that day?
He was in for coffee, and he was hanging out.
Oh, what time was that at?
Shit, I don't know, sometime in the morning.
Oh, okay. Was there anything weird about him?
No,
Seemed normal.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time ago. I'm thinking that he said his car was broke down or having car issues or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Something with his tire?
I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
So what's everybody bringing it up if he's dead?
It's going to be a podcast. We're working on a podcast. It's going to be a season, and it's going to be about the Donna Tompkins case. So we're going to be looking at a lot of different aspects about the case. You ever listen to podcasts?
No, I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. They're like radio shows, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see nothing out of the norm.
Okay, but he did have car trouble. He did say he had car trouble that morning.
I believe so.
Yeah. So do you remember, like, finding out about the fire and then finding out about the investigation?
I just heard about the fire.
Yeah. And then you didn't hear about the investigation? And that Donna
No.
investigated? Oh, okay.
No, I just Googled it.
Oh, you just Googled it. Okay.
Yeah.
There's not that much out there about it, is there?
No, huh?
Yeah. But so when you were living in Canton and you didn't know that there was a trial going on and that Donnie got convicted?
Yeah, I knew there was a trial, but I never did follow it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, based on what you know now, since you've Googled it, do you think that justice was served?
No, I do not.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because why should us taxpayers pay for somebody in prison like that? He should have went to directly death row and shot in the head.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So you think that the death penalty, he deserved that, and that the only problem is that with the system is that they shouldn't wait so long to put him to death.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying. Oh, okay. I got you.
Yep.
So you think he was guilty?
Oh, yeah, had to have been. He's probably hanging out with me for a lullaby.
I see. Okay.
Well, a lot of people drink coffee at my place, but still.
Right, but you don't remember what time of day it was?
It was around 8 or 9. But he was in there for a while, probably an hour.
Oh, wow. It was that...
Which people do that.
Yeah.
Because they go in and shoot the shit.
Right. Interesting. But were you surprised? I mean, based on the fact that you said that he seemed like an okay guy, and then here he is, he's convicted of murder?
Yes, I was. Yeah, because he came from a good family.
Oh, you know his family?
Well, just from an station, yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective on the community. I worked for years in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
You get to know people, and you get to know them in a way that other people don't know them, because they come in every day and you see their routines, you see their moods, you have conversations with them about their life. And
yeah. Yep.
Do you still do that?
No, I did it for 30 years, though.
Wow. Were you the manager?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that you can tell me or you want to tell me about Canton or about being in that position in the community? Because I'm fascinated by the community.
Yeah, the community is great. Canton is a good town. It's a pretty good town.
Oh, okay. Well, you stayed there all your life, so it must be.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm very happy he's dead, especially when he murdered the girl and her kid.
Right. Did you think that there were any other suspects?
Boy, I don't know. Probably not.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I do appreciate your input.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi, is this...
Yes, it is.
Hi, this is Anne Marie. I think you were talking to Cory.
Yes, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to kind of not incriminate myself, but put myself out there for...
Well, we can keep you anonymous.
Oh, yeah, well, that's fine.
If you're comfortable talking about Donnie.
Just according to what the questions are, and I really don't have a whole lot about it. The main thing is that it was just horrific. Well, do you have specific questions then?
Yeah, I'm curious to know about Canton, Illinois. I'm from outside of Canton, Ohio. So it's always funny when I hear Canton, Illinois. I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, yeah, well, it is a smaller town, but it wasn't too small, about 14,000 people. It was a pretty booming community before the International Harvester closed down. And a lot of the people moved then to Indiana to another harvester.
So what was International Harvester? What did they do?
They made all sorts of farm equipment. It had been there for years, and it was a big employer of the whole community and county. And I can't tell you how many people worked there, but it was huge. If you Google it, you'll see the factory, how big it was. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you what year it closed down, but that caused a lot of problems in the community for jobs and families being separated. Some of the men had to go to Indiana to work, and Ohio, and sometimes the family stayed back. Sometimes the entire family moved. It was just according to where the kids were in school mostly. But it caused a negative impact on the community a lot because...
What year was that?
I don't know. I'd have to Google it and see. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's okay. And so you were you from Canton yourself?
Yes, I was born there, and so was my husband. We came back and taught there. I taught at the elementary school, and he taught at the college. There was a college right outside of town called SPOON River College, and a lot of the kids would go there because it was a junior college, and then they go on to a 4-year school from there. And that was a positive thing in our community, and there were many positive things, but that really knocked the economy when that moved. Yeah. So my brother he was in management. He ended up going down and managing the Memphis plant for a while, and they were just all over, It was comparable to John Deere or something like that. I don't know if you're familiar with farm equipment, but...
A little bit, not too much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. That sounds like a devastating blow to a community that
it was
is built around, so I can imagine. So how did the community, I don't want to say bounce back, but how did they adjust?
Well, it has never been quite the same economically, but right now there are people that have taken hold and started things, and like at the time, a lot of the businesses ended up closing and so on, but then now they're starting to reopen. And after I can't even tell you what year it was, but later it caught on fire, and nobody knows what caused the fire, but anyway, it burned and burned and burned, and black smoke. It was really toxic. Mm-hmm. And it was very strange that it did. The International Harvester had a whistle, a big, loud, deep whistle that would blow when the people would go for lunch. And then in the morning it would blow when they were just to be at work, and then it would blow again when it was time for the workers to go home. Now, there were night workers, but anyway, everybody missed that whistle so much because it was just, you kind of knew by the whistle if you had to hustle somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
it was really the base of the whole community.
Wow.
For a while, it continued in Memphis and Ohio, I think. I'm trying to remember where in Ohio that was, because some of my friends' husbands worked there. But like, if there were, like, one of my teacher friends, her husband ended up there, and but she had her job, and lots of years, and so she stayed back, and then he would come back on weekends. It was quite a drive. I wish I could remember the name of the place in Ohio it was. But some of the people had to go out of town for work. But it was a devastating blow to the community.
Yeah.
But they're coming back now in different ways, things like art shows and more aesthetic things,
Yeah.
People trying to keep it going.
Right.
And it has changed the community some. There was a prison built outside of town, and that kind of changed the atmosphere also. Mostly it was just the workers around, but anyway, it did help the community have work,
right?
For some people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Canton always had a wonderful educational system, always. They were known for it, at least by their students,
Mm-hmm.
that went on to college. I remember the many compliments I got. In fact, my English teacher wrote back to my English teacher in high school because the other kids hadn't had as much training, as we had. And it was just lots of talent. There were the little theater outside of town, and just a kind of a regular community going to homecoming games and things like that was, for the kids was a big deal.
How did, just out of curiosity, how did Canton get started? Like, what was its history, its early history, if you...
Right. I was a settler by the name of Isaac Swan. And actually, I taught at the school Isaac Swan, and that's where Donnie was in 5th grade when I was there. I believe I only had him for maybe reading or something. We switched classes for reading and math. And I can't really remember. That's a long time ago, and I got lots of students. It just kind of, when you think of all the students you had, it really adds up.
I can't imagine.
I know my dad went to school and graduated there, and my mother graduated from a small town called Lewistown. Another thing that they do around there that they started some years ago is they call it Spoon River Drive, and it's near the Spoon River, and they have all sorts of crafts and entertainment and things on this scenic drive all around the county, and it even goes out of the county, I think. And that was another thing that was, promoted a lot. They always had a friendship festival, and in the fall. And that was really fun for the kids. Our school, Isaac Swan School, looked right out on where they had the carnival and everything. Boy, let that come. And it was hard to keep the kids' attention because our windows looked right out to where that was.
I can imagine.
But no, it was a good place to raise children. We came back from the Chicago area and raised our children there, and they got a good education too. It was just, I don't know, just a good place to bring up children. Home of Lincoln. I was going to tell Cory there probably are some other people that might have more information than I do. There are a lot of people that are more historians than I am. Sure. I've been away about almost 20 years now, and so
So, and you were a teacher, you taught the 5th grade in...
Yes, I did.
Canton.
I taught at Ingersoll and then, or not, I'm sorry, I have to go backwards. At Isaac Swan, I had taught in Hinsdale, Illinois, and then I came back and taught at Isaac Swan. And then it closed because there weren't enough students in the town after things started to go downhill. Mm-hmm. And they closed that school, and then I went to Lincoln School and then to Ingersoll School. One thing about it, Canton had many, especially one benefactor, that there were many buildings, schools, the library in town, beautiful library, everything, beautiful parks, and his name was Ingersoll, and he really left money that is just unbelievable what all was built, and they've always kept up the buildings, I mean, they had to tear some down and build new, but that money was always there, mm-hmm. It's a wonderful library for a small town. I mean, it was just kind of unbelievable. They were ahead of their time at the time, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you were Cory's teacher?
I was.
And what kind of a student was Cory?
Well, he was quiet, but he was a good student. And, you don't remember every one of them, but I remember Cory. He never caused any problems, and had a lovely mother and cooperative mother. They aren't all cooperative parents.
No, yeah.
As the years went on, they became less cooperative. But anyway, that Cory and I then met. I don't know. Somehow I don't know. He had written something, and I guess I saw it, and so we became corresponding. And for a while, I was reading his first book that he was going to put out, and that was when my husband was ill, and I never did get to finish because my eyes, I have kind of bad eyes, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Canton had a beautiful golf course right in town, mm-hmm. and that eventually went under and now it's a cornfield. It was beautiful. My dad, I'm glad he didn't live long enough to see it become a cornfield, because he was on the board there. It was really nice. Mm-hmm. But the Big Creek Park there, we had a swimming pool that was built in, during the Depression. They had the TVA, and what else did they have? I can't remember what else. The workmen, they hired people to work on it through the government, and the most beautiful swimming pool was built. And in fact, that's where I met my husband. I was working there. Anyway, it was just outstanding. It was built up instead of level, and just beautiful. But after a while, after the 30s, I think that's when it was built, during the Depression, and so it finally became obsolete, I guess. It was something else. It was way ahead of its time, too.
No, it sounds fabulous.
Yeah, and the medical, we always had a clinic there, and now it has expanded, but there was a fairly good-sized hospital that served the whole county and the area around, and we had really good doctors. Some were, nationally known with their medical society and so on, and we were glad to come back home where it was just a little bit different life than the suburbs that we live in.
Yeah. So was your husband from there too then? Yeah, because you met at the swimming pool. Okay. Oh,
yes, he was. And so he taught at the college. He was a biology, botany teacher and microbiology.
So did you want to talk at all about Donnie?
I'll just know that a former teacher was devastated. I just never dreamed in a million years. I knew maybe that there were problems, but not like that,
Yeah.
And so how did you get interested in this?
Through Cory.
Through Cory, okay.
Yeah. It's an interesting case. There's a lot of dimensions to it. The backdrop of Canton makes it interesting as well. What was Donnie like as your student?
I just really don't want to say it. It's okay. Not exactly pleasant. Okay. I prefer not to say.
All right. No, I understand. I don't want you to talk about anything that makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. So
I told Cory that some of the people at the high school would probably know a little bit more, and like people from that historical society, I'm sure some of them would be glad to talk. There is a Facebook page if you grew up in Canton, like in my day, back in the 50s. I graduated in 55, but we had a hangout that could have been on happy days, It's a wonderful place, but it was great. The people that ran it just loved teenagers. It's a good thing because some of them were pretty ornery.
Yeah.
But mostly they were very good. And, we had the drive-in restaurants and all. We had several of those, like 3 at least. And it was a very good town to grow up in.
Sounds like it. How fun.
Good memories.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. All right.
Okay, well.
Thank you.
Well, that's okay, Ann. Thank you, I guess.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, how did that go?
It was interesting. She was hesitant, and she said, well, I don't want to say anything bad about Donnie. I said, well, we can keep you anonymous. And she said, she talked for a while. We talked for about 25 minutes. I got her to talk about Canton and what it was like, and a little tiny bit of early history, and the fact that she and her husband were from there. She talked about, what a great place it was in the 50s, and, we talked about a lot of that. I found out what kind of student you were.
I don't even know what kind of student I was, so that should be interesting.
Well, I was trying to make her comfortable before I asked her about Donnie. She really didn't want to talk about him. My feeling was that I didn't have a good experience with him. That was interesting. And I asked her, I said, so what was Donnie like? And she froze up. She's you got to listen to the recording.
No, I will.
She said that it wasn't a pleasant experience, that we never expected it to go as bad as it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can read between the lines.
Okay. I wonder what she's worried about exactly.
Maybe I should have probed harder. Maybe I should have pushed her harder.
No, it's okay.
I'm
it's okay.
Guessing myself.
It's all right, because if she's not comfortable about it, she has her reasons for it. So maybe she's just really, like I told you, everybody's afraid of this boogeyman, and maybe it's just real. Maybe that's really real. Maybe even though he's dead, they're still like, I don't know. It's like nothing but trouble messing with that.
Right. It's interesting. It is interesting, and it's like, how do you crack that nut? How do you get people, to talk about it?
There's nobody's going to come after them. So I'm just curious, like, what it is in their mind, like this mysterious thing that they're afraid of. I don't know.
it's just interesting that people are so afraid of this, of talking about this. Is it because it's such a small town, or are they afraid of something else? Like, what is it?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, no, I think that it depends on who's looking at it, and you can't base your decision process about what you're going to put out there and how you're going to put it out there, because you're trying to shine the light on this, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to tiptoe around people, I don't know, that would be a maneuver you'd have to decide on. But I don't trust anything at this point. Yeah.
I feel like people will do whatever they want. There's no real rules.
Right. You're looking for a needle. You're looking for that person who's willing to talk about it, who's not afraid. You got to decide that.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be transparent. That's what I'm trying to do. I wanted to show everything, But if it's going to make people feel like I'm going to sabotage them, it's public information. So I don't really understand.
Yeah. It is. You're right.
Yeah. So why can't I expose the narrative?
Right. I just think that, this guy, Kevin, is too, woven into the small town. Mm-hmm. And that's why he's not talking. That's the only reason why. And it's funny because he said he was a journalist and he understands what we're doing, but then he talks out of the other side of his mouth and he's afraid to be a part of it.
And as a journalist, he doesn't agree to that. Because, that's... I don't know. I'm just showing the process. Then maybe that means that what I'm showing is something questionable. You understand what I mean? Like, what is it about...
So maybe you agree with them?
No. I'm saying, what is it about the message that is so bad for me to share?
People don't want to, that's in the past. They don't want to look at it. On one hand, and that's what I keep saying, I said, we don't have an opinion either way about it. We're just, there's so many layers to this story. It's very compelling. And the fact we're trying to shine the light on it. Mm-hmm. And what the truth is. And what is the truth? And this is what I told him. I said, the truth is what the truth is for you. What the truth is for the people that we talk to. That is the truth that we're trying to uncover. And whether he realizes or not, his reticence, his desire to not be associated with it is a truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How affected they are is something, in itself.
Yeah, he doesn't want to look at it. He's like, I just trust the system. He kept saying that. I trust the system, and, I don't want to be a part of questioning it.
I don't even know. So, if it all comes down to, like, that Instagram post, here's what I'm saying. Like, if it's so bad that I'm showing what people are giving me, then... is that on me, or is it because I'm exposing something that somebody else is doing that's shady? And if I can't expose that, then what are we even doing? I think it's the nature of a podcast to show everything, and of course some people are going to be turned off or freaked out by it.
Right.
But also that's what caught his attention, so maybe I did something right.
Well, and that's part of the story, is his reaction to it.
Yeah, all I did was post the reaction from the guy who writes the narrative for the police department. And if that's so bad, then I don't even know. Then it doesn't seem like there's much else we could do, because it's going to get a lot worse than that.
Yeah, it is.
That's really nothing. Like, really nothing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the soundbite of Alan Friedman saying, there was something fishy about it. I wouldn't have posthumously, written the clemency, whatever, petition, unless I thought there was something wrong. He said he would be willing to go on the record saying that. He just wants to be able to have all the documentation in front of him that will make him feel more comfortable about a formal interview.
People will hear it, take it more serious, be more freaked out by it. You know, the more people who are inspired or freaked out, the better, because it's like we're scratching this mosquito bite, and the more we scratch it, the bigger it gets. And the bigger it gets, the more there's exposed. And that's what we want to do, is we want to see what we can bring to the surface. And I think there's a lot. I mean, there must be something there, because this is nuts. I know for you, like, you've never even been to Canton, you don't care. And to tell you the truth, Canton scares the shit out of me. I'm terrified of that place.
I'm interested in the history, because I'm a history geek,
but I hope we can look at this. I hope we can look at this to the side of Canton, you know, as like a universal story. You know, like all. Well,
and if we can use this, the interview with, whether we say who she is or not, she talks about what was the name of the company that closed down?
International Harvester.
Yeah, she talked about that, drew a picture of what that was like for the town. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, right there... I
talk about how when the factory shut down, there's like a shadow that just came over the town, like as... like basically everybody started driving to Peoria to go to work, and what was left behind is just like everything was boarded up.
Okay. Were you even born?
I was born in 1980.
Okay.
But I've seen pictures. There was like, it was like a bustling town, like Corvettes and fancy cars everywhere, and like...
She described that really well, especially about back in the 50s, and, it was like Happy Days, and there was a place that we went to that was like the place on Happy Days, and she talked about the drive-in restaurants, and
then all of a sudden you bring up Donnie, and it just turns like a sharp corner.
That's a good way to describe it. She said you were a quiet student, but you never caused any problems, and I mean, it was not very long, but from the teacher's perspective, you were great.
I don't know. I wasn't a very good student, and I was always getting in trouble, so I'm not sure.
Oh, and your mother? Oh, really? And she said that your mother was, a good parent to have to deal with.
That's good. And what age was... I don't even remember what grade that was. Did she say?
I think she said 5th grade.
5th grade? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
I mean, there's no way around, the context of this story and this guy, Donnie, that, people don't want to talk about.
Yep.
You direct me. You tell me what you want.
I'm very... Yeah. I feel... Well, you keep talking about being able to shift, and I feel like we're shifting right now. So I'm trying to realign everything according to the direction the story is going now, because I feel like it has just made a big shift for some reason. Because now that the community is kind of aware of what we're doing, it like, now we know how it's going to respond to us. Sort of.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how to approach it with this new perspective.
Spoon River Gothic is a production of Lonebird Media in association with CZ Studio and Radio Vérité. The show is produced by August Olsen, editing, directing, and producing by Cory Zimmerman, audio mastering and engineering by E. Mastered. Research is done by Anne-Marie Cannon, Chelseah Mesa, and me, Jinra Ilustrisimo. Spoon River Gothic is written and hosted by Cory Zimmerman. You can follow the show at czstudio.works and read the blog at spoonrivergothic.com. Show some love by leaving us a rating or review on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And stay tuned for the next episode as we dive deeper into the Donald Bull case. Thank you for listening. This is Spoon River Gothic, narrative of a double homicide.